looking at the US. Actually, this is our Eagle Eye tool. It's a situational awareness tool where we can bring in different layers of information. So what we have here are the generation plans throughout the country. You have different colors, and if we're not colorblind, I'd be able to describe what that is, but I think there's yellows, reds, and greens maybe. But with the overlay of weather, of hurricanes, storms, icing storms coming through, we can get a sense of what the impacts are going to be on the infrastructure that we see. So it's really just a visualization platform providing information to help decision makers.
It's kind of interesting how you can see regionally the different types of power that's more prevalent, right? So if that's like solar, as you were saying, all the yellow, but then toward the Midwest, it turns really brown and blue. And
exactly, and the other neat thing is the population pockets, right? So you can see where all the population is along coastal regions. Hopefully the sea levels don't rise too much, right? And so wind is going to be in this part of the country. So trying to get that generation to the loads, that's where we need different types of technologies and HVD, high voltage DC systems. So
how do you get power from Minnesota to Florida,
Right, and part of it, you have the transmission system getting that bulk power, and then at the lower voltages, the distribution side. But the big change is the wind, where the wind resources are here, and getting that out to the rest of the country is part of the challenge. As we look at energy, electricity consumption, we're going to see a significant shift in that as we move towards electric vehicles. So right now it's gas. About 4.5 megawatts of gasoline goes into a typical car. So how do you take that 4.5 megawatts of gasoline and move that to electricity? That's going to create a big switch in consumption of electricity. But part of what we're doing here is looking at the charging infrastructure. So how do you charge this stuff? You don't want to have to come in each time and plug something in. What if you don't plug it in right? So wireless charging is part of this. So we have different coils that we have. There's coils under the car that allows you to drive up, wirelessly charge the infrastructure.
Just like putting your cell phone on the little the new wireless chargers.
Exactly. Except you don't have to have it touching. You have a 12-inch space, and it's about 90% efficient of transferring power across that space. So what we're doing here is with the Porsche is understanding what the implications of the most significant and substantial battery power. So being able to charge this and fast is going to put a big burden on the grid. If you have thousands of these, it's going to create some challenges. So we're trying to overcome.
It's really adding a whole new element to the grid. Right? I mean, we're used to heating and air, we're used to lighting, but the cars, I mean, that's...
It's taking the 35-40% of those quads in energy and moving it all to electricity, and that's significant.
And this is a part of the charging...
So part of the charging, there's the stationary where you pull into your garage and then you can charge wireless, remotely. You don't have to plug in. But what if you could charge while you're driving? And so what this demonstration is showing how we would be able to dynamically charge your car, where if you have the coils that are in the road, and as you're driving on this track here, we're trying to see how effective that transfer is while you're moving dynamically. And what it looks
70 miles an hour, how much do you get when you whoop?
And what we're finding is about 20 miles an hour. So if you can drive 20 miles an hour, you're going to be very efficient in certain ways. So maybe we're going to have these pull-offs like, do you know the way stations where trucks pull off? There may be charging stations where you slow down 20 miles and then
entrance and exit ramps.
Things like that. So this is where the electric vehicle infrastructure and the transportation infrastructure really comes together with the bulk power and electricity infrastructure.
This video is inspired by our PBS series, Reconnecting Roots. Connect with me, Gabe McCauley, and Reconnecting Roots by visiting reconnectingroots.com, where you'll discover music, blogs, behind the scenes, our podcast, and more. Join our email list and never miss a beat.